All righty, welcome aboard. Starting a little early today, but that's the beauty when you're in charge. You can start whenever the hell you want to start. So today we're starting a little early out here at Caneswear at Miami Fanwear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. We'll be out here, of course, till about, I would say about 3 o'clock. We'll give you as much as we can here today on the program. Got a bunch of guests here today on the show. In fact, my man Andy Behrens will be joining us right away at 11 o'clock, so we'll have a little fun with Andy. And now I'm looking at I'm going, where the hell is my sheet now? Because I'm going, where the hell is my prep sheet here?
This is the second day you're a little lost, man. What's going on with you, brother?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it doesn't help when your brain is burnt from doing like 800 shows in the last week on multiple levels.
Excuse me, I am so sorry.
I was on last night again till 11 on Sirius Radio. Here it is. I'm sure it's all.
I keep forgetting to factor in the serious factor, and that's a pretty serious factor.
That's a very serious factor. So Andy Behrens will be joining us at 11. Manny Navarro, our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report, which is normally on Tuesdays. Where are we? We're at Caneswear, baby. So, yes, we'll have Manny Navarro here as our main sponsor for that segment. It will be in charge, as always. Ryan Abner is also going – is going to join us from the Oklahoman. And for those of you that don't know, we started last week. We're doing a draft profile on all the different QBs coming into the draft, and we're getting beat guys that are following these quarterbacks on an everyday basis throughout their careers. Last week we did Tua, we did Joe Burrow, we did Jake Fromm, and we did Justin Herbert. This week we've already done we did Nate Stanley yesterday. And today, we're going to do Jalen Hurts because Ryan covers Hurts for the Oklahoman. So we'll talk a little bit about Jalen Hurts with Ryan at 2 o'clock. So that'll be part of our focus. And for those of you that have missed the insight on any of those other interviews, let me tell you, man, you can you can go to our podcast and download those and check it out. Great insight on those quarterbacks. I will warn you, the Justin Herbert one, just in case you were a fan, you may not want to listen to that one because after you hear that interview, you definitely will not want Justin Herbert on your football team. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
They need to be objective, man, if he's what he is.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. So we're going to have some fun with all of that. What else do we have? I just got the clearance. Jay Skursky is going to join us at 2:30. Now, do you know who Jay Skursky is?
No, sir. Please enlighten me and everybody else out there.
Well, you'll get to know Jay personally, and you'll get to know him now professionally because we'll have him on the show several times over the next couple of years. But Jay's been covering the Bills for a long, long time. And he covered a guy by the name of Chan Gailey, who was there.
Aha.
And guess who's coming to Miami now?
You know what? Jeff from Caneswear enlightened me this morning. He's coming back.
So Chan Gailey's coming. So we're going to have Jay Skursky, who covered him. Now, I covered Chan also when he was here in Miami with Dave Wanstead, but it was so long ago. And I want to get into that because I know a lot of you want to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Dolphins, and I'll get into that in a minute. I'm awaiting one more guest that we're going to add, hopefully, to the lineup because I'm trying to give you different perspectives on the breaking news because that's what we do here on this show. We delve into stuff like nobody else can in any of, especially local radio. So, and you're not going to get objective opinions on local radio, so you could get them here. And by the way, once again, thank you for all the support and the downloads We had a record day of downloads yesterday.
That was crazy.
Wow. It's just amazing what we're accomplishing every single month. Over 30% increase in our downloads consecutively in consecutive months. It is, and we thank you for that. I think a lot of people are realizing that what we do, you can't get anyways locally on radio. Plus, you get to listen to like sports talk go on for, a while here. Not, hey, we're going to talk for 8 or 10 minutes, then break for 8 or 10 minutes, and then come back for 8 or 10 minutes and break for another 8 or 10 minutes. I mean, give me a break. So it's impossible for a listener to deal with that. And trust me, for the host, it's not easy. They got to do it because you got to do it because that's your job, but it's terrible for flow. Where here we can flow all we want and break whenever we want, and they're really short breaks, and because I've done radio for a long time, still do radio, but this is where Bill and I are in charge, and we're gonna do things where it's easier for you, the listener, to listen, relax. You don't have to channel surf. You're going to get everything. We're going to talk about the Heat today. We're going to talk about the Canes. We're going to talk about the Dolphins. You're going to get all kinds of, we're going to give you an NFL draft perspective. We do it all on this show. You don't have to go anywhere in any other show or anywhere else. Just tune in right here every single day, usually at 11 a.m. Tomorrow, by the way, because it's the 1st, okay, it'll be an abbreviated podcast, all of that. Bill's looking forward to his day off tomorrow. It's good. It's good to have a day off, right? Right, Bill?
Every once in a while, yeah. It's why we work, right? To have a day off to do something, but I probably won't be doing a thing.
It's also good to get paid, too, on time. Anyway.
That's a great concept.
Yeah, isn't it? Anyway, so we got a lot of things to talk about here on the show. First of all, yesterday, let's get into a little Miami Dolphins talk. And I know yesterday was one of those days where we saw Brian Flores and Chris Greer, and they addressed what happened on the season and all of that good stuff. And then the press conference was over, and then a couple hours later, the bomb drops, and they fired Chad O'Shea, Tony Oden, the safeties coach, and Dave DeGuglielmo, the O-line coach, who, by the way, wasn't good enough the first time around with the Miami Dolphins. And I know they made changes this season, early in the season with the O-line coach, and they brought this gentleman on. And so now they're going to go out and try to find another one. And let me tell you something. Let's get into a couple layers of all of this. It'll be harder for Manny Diaz to add quality coaches because he had a crappy year and he looked incompetent, unfortunately. I hope Manny finds the right coaches, and I hope Manny comes back next year with a vengeance and is completely opposite of what we saw this year, okay? I pray for that, all right? Because I fear what could be coming because what I saw was very disturbing. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. This man here in Brian Flores, he actually showed people something in a big-time way that good coaches are going to want, good assistant coaches are going to want to join this staff, okay? So I think he'll be able to find a solid offensive line coach. The safeties coach, we'll see what he does there. Now, the offensive coordinator, apparently he has found that in Chan Gailey. Now, I'm going to play a little, I'm going to play this game with a little foresight. I'm going to say that they're anticipating losing, okay, Jim Caldwell. Because if you're bringing in somebody that's a veteran like this, has plenty of NFL experience, has college experience, the beauty of Chan Gailey is he knows the quarterback position very well, can coach the quarterback position, and here's the thing. Because he's run different offenses, I think it goes well with what you're doing here right now where you may have to adjust. He's coached Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's also a very important thing. So there's a history there with these two gentlemen. And I think that's also important. So I'm really wondering if there's a lot of foresight in this move, because if you were going to bring back Jim Caldwell, you now had somebody that knows offense inside and out and knows quarterbacks. So you can kind of mentor your offensive coordinator. I'm not sure if the quarterbacks coach is going to be the guy that eventually will become the offensive coordinator. So Chan Gailey is kind of like overseeing all of this. And I know that they were maybe concerned that if Josh Daniels gets a job, that he would be taking the quarterbacks coach with him. So maybe they're going to elevate him too. I don't know how they're going to handle all of this. But I think there's some foresight and planning going on here. It's not about, don't think the short-sighted plan about, well, is Chan Gailey, he's about to be 68. Is he the offensive coordinator for now? And does this mean that they're going to be more run-oriented or pass-oriented, or what are they going to do? And so this is where I would tell you to kind of pump the brakes, because Chan has been kind of tied with different things. So I think he can be somewhat flexible too. And I think the experience that he brings to the table and working with quarterbacks is also an enormous positive for this football team. The experience is also fantastic. I thought he did a solid job when he was here in Miami as an offensive coordinator, considering what he had to work with and the coach that he was working with, who had a very conservative approach to everything. Remember, even when Norv Turner was here, when you were crossing the 30-yard line, I was told that you would hear in the headsets, everybody would hear in the headsets, Dave Wannstedt goes, we're in field goal range, guys. Let's take care of the football here. So when you were crossing the 30, Dave Wannstedt was already thinking 3. So even if you were aggressively thinking 7, the guy above you was already coaching for 3 in his defense and punting. That's who Wani was. And so it really depends on who you have. The one thing you did learn about Flores this year, conservative, he is not. Okay? I mean, he's aggressive. He's going to take chances. He doesn't have patience. He found out early on last year he didn't like his offensive line coach. He made a change. And then the guy that took over, he didn't like him either. He made a change. He brought a guy over with him from New England, and that guy wasn't good enough for him, and he made a change. This guy's not going to wait. Players from week to week are schemed in and out. Players are brought in, tried out, and exited right away if they can't play. This guy's not going to waste time. I love that, by the way. I just want you to know that. And there's a checks and balances the way I look at things. And this goes for everything. I'll give you an example. Pat Riley. I've told you guys this over and over again. Unlike some of you out there, while he screwed up with Whiteside and Tyler and all that, I kept telling you, Riley's my guy. Riley writes his check. Whenever he wants to walk the hell out of the door, he can do it. I don't care. Now, I'll be objective and I'll tell you, he screwed up with those contracts. But I'll never want to fire him because there's a checks and balance here. You can't fire somebody or want to fire anybody that gives you 20-plus years of incredible service and for 2 or 3 he lost his mind and made some mistakes. If you have never produced and those 2 or 3 years are the only years you have, then you get rid of his ass. But last time I checked, there's 3 championships, there's 5 trips to the title game. There's what is it? I don't know, like 6 or 7 trips to the conference finals. There's 13 division titles. Are you kidding me? The resume's freaking loaded. So with Brian Flores, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with Chan Gailey. But Brian Flores has earned some respect with me now. He has earned the right to make this call now and see what he does in the second stage of leading this Dolphins team. Because in his first year, he proved to me that he can win in the most difficult situations that could possibly exist for a football team. That means lack of talent. Okay? The guy had no talent. And he had the world pointing fingers at him and criticizing everything that he was doing. And yet he guided his team through all of that turmoil to a 5-11 season. So, if he thinks Chan Gailey is going to be the next piece he needs to move along, and remember, I don't believe this is a long-term fit. I think this is an experience fit. I think he's here to help mold the next offensive coordinator. I think he's here to help mold the next quarterback. I think he's here to help mold the culture. I don't think you think about this like this is a move that this is your offensive coordinator for the next 15 years. No, I think this is a guy that has been out of football for a couple of years, but he knows his stuff, has worked in so many different, organizations, has run a couple different offenses, and has worked with all kinds of quarterbacks. And so the experience is priceless. And that's something that certain coaches will not have at this point. And right now, when you have a really, really young team, experience and leadership is something that's really important right now. And that's where I think Chan Gailey's bringing his expertise and his experience to the football team, to the offense, and to his assistant coaches, one of which I think eventually takes over as the offensive coordinator. I think that's what's happening here. This is an experience transitional piece that he added to the coaching staff. And I don't know how long it's going to take, maybe a year or two or three, no more than that, and I think Chan's gone. I don't even know if it gets to 3, but I can see a year or two of helping to transition this whole staff. I think that's what's going to happen. Remember, Chan Gailey understands offenses, understands blocking schemes, okay? So the next offensive line coach also will have some kind of chemistry with that. Maybe even experience working with him. Not just philosophically, but maybe really physically, these two have actually worked together. You never know. That could be an option. Not sure if those options are out there because I haven't looked. But I'm just telling you from an outsider's point of view what I'm seeing and what this hire really means in adding Chan Gailey. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy is going to join us on the other side. You got him already?
There is no other side. The other side is here.
All right, I love it. And before we go to Andy Behrens, let's remind you to call Choice Mortgage Bank because they can still get you state rates under 3.5%. What are you waiting for? Don't allow anybody else to give you the runaround. Call Michael Kodsey right now. Here's the owner's personal cell number, 561-441-2730. You're going to love somebody that works so hard for you. He and his staff, they've earned a AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. They've been doing it right for 25 years. Call Michael Kodsey, 561-441-2730. All right, let's talk a little fantasy basketball with the man, the myth, the legend that is Andy Behrens. And I would imagine, Andy, that last night you went and scrambled and got Garrison Matthews on your basketball team after he lit it up for the Wizards and lit it up against the Miami Heat. Oh, no, not yet. He's not there? No? What's going on? Oh, you said you had him.
Yeah, I do. I got him on the phone, but when I did the reset to get rid of the echo on YouTube, it had to redo, and we're in, and here he comes.
All right, Andy, you there? All right, Andy.
Far off sort of way.
There we go. There we
got
go.
Me? There we go.
You.
Ta-da!
All right. If, by the way, if you have any fantasy basketball questions, you can send them in on the YouTube chat board. You can send them in on Twitter at Big O Show and on the Axe sitinlawfirm.com text line 786-322-1105. So, Andy, did you scramble for Garrison Matthews from the Wizards last night after that 28-point performance and 4 of 7 from three-point range?
Oh, my gosh. The Wizards are just the team that keeps on giving. They play at crazy pace, which is part of it, right? And they're terrible defensively. So, like, every game the Wizards play is just an absolute fantasy feast, it seems. Jordan McRae goes off. Gary Payton's kid is having quite a week and a half, getting like 3 steals for every 20 minutes he plays. Just like the problem is so much of this is about the players that aren't there right now. You know, Bradley Beal is hurt. Zay Thomas is hurt, and then he's not. Bertans has been out. So we've got to assume that when these guys get back, you know, a lot of the stats go away for some of the supporting players. But right now, basically anybody who's going to get 25 minutes in any given game for the Washington Wizards is going to be worth starting.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Now, but does he have a future? Is that a guy? I was joking around and having fun, but he is a rookie, so I'm just wondering, is there a future? Because, you know, eventually I'm going to ask you about Minnesota. You know, some of these teams, they have no hope. So they might be turning to the future very shortly. So will Washington turn to the future very shortly is my question for you.
Well, one of the tricks there is, number one, Bertans has got to be a big part of their future. Number two, like, they can't trade Bradley Beal this season, so he's not going anywhere. They could shut him down. They could ease off of him. But I think Matthews is a thing. I think Matthews is super interesting. Drew a few MVP chance the other night, which is fun to hear. Not going to happen, but pretty fun to hear. So yeah, I mean, I think guys like McRae and Matthews can be interesting players. I think they both probably have to get picked up in deeper leagues. They both had terrific games, knocked down a bunch of threes. They're a perfect example of a team that should be rolling with young guys right now. And eventually, I don't know if Bradley Beal really wants to be there long term or not, but he's certainly going to be a trade candidate again in the offseason. And so I feel like the two guys who popped last night just absolutely have to be picked up.
Yeah, no, he was in love with the money this year. Next year, he'll be in love with another team, and he'll move on. I said Minnesota. I meant Detroit. Detroit eventually is going to start purging here, and they're going to try to get rid of some of these veterans if they can. Christian Wood.
That's the name.
Is this the guy that we need to jump on now and stash if he's still available?
Yeah, and I don't like to be the guy who, you know, tells you that you got to stash everyone. And I only think there's a handful of guys out there that I think are really worthy, you know, bench stash, can't play him right now because Christian Wood isn't getting a ton of minutes. But the situation for Detroit strikes me as almost untenable. They can't play Blake Griffin in back-to-back games, right? You hope that he's not dealing with some sort of chronic condition that just never gets better, but it has that vibe to it. So just a terrible situation for them. They have to make a decision on Andre Drummond. Is he going to be part of the future or not? He's having another one of these crazy Drummond years where he's basically 16 and 16 every night. That's a crazy rebounding total. He's been great, but is he a part of their future? So the obvious candidate to gain a ton of value, number one, if Drummond is dealt, number two, if Griffin just has to get shut down at some point, it's going to be Christian Wood. He's a really good player on a permanent basis. It is frustrating how little he's played. Sometimes, given, you know, especially in situations where you figure, okay, well, he's got to get 30 minutes tonight, whatever. But whenever he gets minutes, the points and the rebounds are there. super productive player. Really like him. I think he is one of those few guys that yes, you absolutely want to stash on a fantasy bench. And they've got some other interesting pieces.
How about
too.
Bruce Brown? Yeah. Former
That's
UMer.
the other guy.
I wanted to ask. Yeah.
Bruce Brown has played really well for them, and is certainly getting more minutes right now than Christian Wood. But Wood, to me, is the guy with a little bit higher ceiling. You know, he's a big. He's like 6'10", 6'11", still relatively young. It feels like he's been around for a few years, but he's still only 24 years old. He's a guy that I just really think it's still the stat sheet again as soon as minutes become really available to him.
Damian Lee, are we finally seeing something rise from the ashes of the Warriors? I know that they're trying to trade Alec Burke so they can make his two-way contract permanent, but I mean, the way Damian Lee is playing, they have to do this, and if you're a fantasy guy, is it time to pounce on him if you can?
Yeah, and Steve Kerr has suggested that they will do it. The trick with the Warriors is because of the deal with D'Angelo Russell, they're hard capped, so they have to give away Alec Burks. Like Burks has got to go. If they're gonna make Lee a semi-permanent part of this roster, then Burks has really got to go, and that may end up being just a pure giveaway. Lee popped on Christmas. Like honestly, like the Christmas games, I was super excited for him. And there was like one that lived up to the billing. You know, the battle for LA kind of lived up to the billing, but there was not another game where both teams showed up. But Lee was one of the highlights of the day. He was so good against Houston. Really filled in the stat sheet for that team. He's actually a bit older. I think he's 27, 28 years old. So there's no, like, he's already about as good as he's ever going to be. But yes, he appears to be that one guy who, you know, when he plays, it's definitely double-digit points. Like, I think he's double-digit points in like 5 straight games, 6 straight games, something like that. Weird rebounding total in the Christmas game too. I wouldn't count on that being bankable or sustainable, but he's somebody who definitely across 3-4 categories.
Right, exactly. That
really helps fantasy owners.
Exactly. He gets assists, he gets steals, he helps you out in all the other categories. He's just an all-around where the other kid, what is it, Kai Bowman or something, that he doesn't help you out in as many categories. But Lee's the one
that's certainly true, and all those guys seem to have been, you know, they all have their moments. They all shine for like, I don't know, 2-3 game stretches. But Lee is the one guy who seems to put it together for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Hey, has Derrick Jones Jr. become a guy you add on a 12-team, 10 or 12 team, or is he still in the deeper leagues?
Well, I mean, I have the skepticism about him that I have for so many other guys in Miami, where it's just, again, it's such a deep, fun team that they don't need everybody clicking on all cylinders in any given game, because they just have, you know, it could be Hero one night, it can be Duncan the next, it can be Jones. But yeah, I think in a league of the size you described, 12 teams, 14 teams, something like that, deep benches, he has been productive enough, and we've seen that the good games are good enough that he belongs on a roster. One of the fun things about him is that some low-level rebounding stats have just always been there. He's basically always coming in at 6 or 7 boards, which gives him a little bit of a fantasy floor, right? Handful of steals every night as well, like some defensive goodies more often than not. And at 25 to 30 minutes a game, which is where he's been lately, yeah, you got to own a guy like that in a 12-person league.
Georgie Deng, are we streaming him only, or is this something that could end up turning into a long-term thing? Because, hey, man, a few years back we were loving Georgie Deng.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on him. You know, obviously the variable there is just how hurt is Karl Anthony Towns. And initially, things seemed to be, maybe they were downplaying it a little bit. It didn't seem like it would drag on perhaps this long, the knee issue. But he's still been out, and Deng is unquestionably the guy who benefits from his absence. He's been great. As soon as Towns comes back, things get really murky for him. So that's a small concern. But then the other thing with Minnesota is they probably got to start trading off assets at some point, because it's just not going to happen for them this year. And could they be one of those guys, and could he benefit from a move? But for now, you have to view him as somebody whose value is entirely tied to the Towns injury. But there's been no good news on Towns yet, so you're going to keep rolling with him certainly through this week.
All right, give me something I did not cover here in fantasy basketball. Nugget you may want to pass on to our listeners.
Yeah, I guess I'd say another one of those guys that I consider an interesting stash. Again, there's not. I don't want to be the guy who tells you just stash everybody out there who has a good game. But another guy who popped on Christmas was Chris Boucher, and he has not, he's not duplicated that effort necessarily since then, but little bit of range, a lot of opportunity for Toronto right now because no Siakam, no Gasol, like all kinds of injuries for that team. Boucher is somebody who in spurts has at least taken advantage of it. He's got some range. We saw that probably the play of the day on Christmas was his tip follow dunk. That was terrific. So I really like Boucher. Also like Anthony Melton in Memphis, guy who's been
finally
who's really available in maybe 65, 70% of Yahoo League, something like that. I think he's a really solid stash as well.
All right, one more. Elfrid Payton, dude. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I feel like I've been through the ringer with Payton so often. I was so enthusiastic about him when he came into the league, and he just didn't get, he didn't improve to the point where, he could really be any kind of fantasy star. But he does also fill up the stat sheet. He gives you the defensive goodies. He gives you the steals. The assists are going to be there. He seems to be the player who's risen to the top of that really ugly point guard hierarchy for the next. So, he's going to get his minutes, and he's going to get you, 4 or 5 stats a night. So I'm pretty interested.
All right, and remember, you can follow Andy on Twitter at Andy Behrens and catch his work there at Yahoo Fantasy. Andy, if folks want to find out a little bit more in fantasy basketball, what are you doing there at Yahoo Fantasy right now?
Yeah, we've got the Yahoo Hoops Fantasy podcast that we publish every Thursday. You'll be able to find that on Apple or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts. We've also had some really fun content from my colleague Dalton Del Don, who gives you pickups every Wednesday.
There you go. I love it. All right, Andy, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time, my man, and Happy New Year.
Thanks, Big O. Happy New Year to you and all your listeners as well. This show is always a pleasure.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Happy New Year, Andy.
There you go.
Thanks, buddy.
You got it.
Have a good one, man.
All right, good stuff there with Andy Behrens, as always. Joining us
always.
To talk a little fantasy with you guys. Let me see what we got, because the chat board, as always, here. The YouTube chat board, man, it grows every day. And let's give a roll call, right? Let's go through roll call. Big Mike says good morning. Big O, happy and healthy New Year. Thank you. Same to all of you. James Changaly, I talked about it a little bit ago. Alfred says, did Rosen run Changaly's offense in college? Not exactly sure if you would call it Changaly's offense. Hey, boys, Happy New Year. Emilio says, go Gators. Hello, O. Joel T. Big O, no echo at all. YouTube sounds great. Thank you. Well, thank Bill. 72 Fins logo. Good morning, everybody. Bob Whitner says Happy New Year, Big O, and Happy New Year to all of you out there. Now, Big O, Changaly is a retread, was here, and I think he had success, but football has changed. Do you think he can coach up the offense these days? Well, if you listen to what I had in my opening segment, I explained it all there. I think you were already tuned in at that point. Guillermo says, good morning, guys. Wishing you the best for 2020. Thanks for all the hard work you guys have been putting down. I've really enjoyed your show. Thank you for keeping it up, and we will, and thank you very much for supporting it, okay? Because if we don't get great sponsors like Caneswear, if we don't have your downloads, there's no way we're going to do it. You know what I mean? The YouTube stuff, it's now becoming icing on the cake. We had our most views yesterday on our episode yesterday, the most. So that, again, that's starting to build too, the video part of it. And more people are finding out, hey, we're on at 11 a.m. and they can watch us. And I swear we're still working on audio, okay? Seriously, I'm working on an audio link for all of this. Myron says, Happy New Year, everybody. Miami Heat must have been tired. They didn't have the energy last night and was the difference. Yeah, and it also helps that the bench for the what's it called, Wizards scored 80 points. You know that, right?
Little bit unconscious.
Come on. bunch of guys that nobody knows like exploded. Ish Smith is the only guy I know, and he's a solid backup point guard in this league. And he played yesterday like he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Lakeisha Smith says, good morning. Good morning, Lakeisha. Richard Changeli, from what I read, was a maven for the spread offense that are run today. Yes, he's done the spread also. That's why I said that he's run different offenses. And I think he was brought here to kind of be a godfather. You know what I mean? Kind of establish it, get a young guy, groom him, get the hell out. I think that's what's going on. I really do. I mean, he's going to be 68. He's not going to be here for 20 years, bro. He's only going to be here a couple years, and then he's gone. I think I love the move. I really do, because of the experience and the knowledge. This is a guy that has worked with 1,000 quarterbacks. This is a guy that has worked on so many different offenses that he is going to be able to share his knowledge and then pass it on to the people underneath him. So when he's gone, he's helping establish that culture that they want for their offense.
So basically, this is a bridge the gap.
Yes.
Pass the baton and run.
Right. Fitz and him are bridges.
And you know what? They're pretty solid, man.
Super.
Love it.
No, it's
especially if we're going to lose Caldwell.
I think that's why Chan is here, because I think they're not going to have that voice anymore in Caldwell, because maybe Caldwell has some serious interest somewhere around the league as maybe an OC or a head coach or something. I don't know. I mean, he should be a head coach, but whatever. Flipside Fishing, morning, John Rouse. There was no need to tank for Tua. John, they were never tanking. Okay? That's the only people that think that they were tanking are the people that were talking tanking. They weren't tanking. They weren't tanking. I mean, it's just, I love how, I think we were probably one of the few radio shows in the damn country that were right on target here. Ian from Brooklyn, what's up, Ian? Happy New Year. Elito says, fire Blake James. All right, Elito. Dougie Fresh says, Flores told some to run to the hills. There's no doubt this is his team. I like it. You're checking out the shirt. Very nice. Very nice. Dougie Fresh. John says 510 he killed was 500 again. Flipside Fishing, wasn't Changeli our interim head coach after one step, and didn't Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor and other players try to get him to become the new head coach? Yes, Chan was liked, man. I covered Chan. I was the beat guy back in the day when Chan was here. He did a good job, man. Did a really good job overall. Wanstead, not one step, sorry. Correct me, Richard says, if I'm wrong, Chad O'Shea was the first hire. Did he not have any OC experience in Miami? Was knocked for the hire. My man. Okay, you're a young coach in Brian Flores. You're a first-year head coach. It probably does not exist a first-year head coach that kept his entire staff in place for the next couple of years. You bring people over that you think you can get the job done with or get by. And then when you get to a certain point, you can then move on to the next person that you think is better situated for the next step that you're taking. So Chad O'Shea was given an opportunity. Obviously, the coach felt you're not good enough after being around him for a year. He needs something else, and he's got to make the change. That's all. And I also think that the Dolphins quarterbacks coach was in play here too. And that's where I would say you got to look, because maybe they cherished the QB coach so much that they said, all right, we want to make sure that we don't lose our QB coach, and we're going to elevate the QB coach and get rid of Chad O'Shea. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out how they handle all of these things? I'm trying to remember the damn QB coach. I'm looking it up now to see if I can remember now.
Oh, let me ask you: were you surprised that they let go of Chad?
Yeah, I was surprised that they made those changes. Jerry Shuplinski is the assistant quarterbacks coach. So he's the assistant. He's a quarterbacks coach. I would be, and right now, for the record, okay, let me see something here. Okay, Chad O'Shea's already off this list. Jim Caldwell is still here as assistant head coach, and quarterbacks coach. So I'm wondering if Shuplinski is going to be elevated when Caldwell leaves, and then Chan Gailey comes in as the offensive coordinator or maybe offensive game planner or whatever, and Shuplinski is your offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach. I'm not sure. Because one of the reports, I think it was Pelissero that reported that they were afraid that if Josh McDaniels goes to, another team, that Shuplinski was headed with him the first time around, that maybe he would snag him from here and give him an elevation. So now Miami's anticipating by saying, all right, we'll name Shuplinski the offensive coordinator. We'll name Chan Gailey the assistant head coach, offensive game planner, something like that. And again, it's kind of okay. Shuplinski doesn't have the experience of an offensive coordinator, but Chan Gailey does. So Chan will groom him for the next year or two, coach him up, and then get the hell out. I think that's what's happening. That's going to be my guess right now, that's what is the case. Because the guy's going to be 68 years old. He's turning 68 shortly. Before the season starts, he's 68. It's not a long-term decision. It just isn't. You know what I mean? But it's an experience decision. I like it. And remember, you bring in a young quarterback, you got Chan Gailey's experience, man. You know what I mean? That's enormous. So Shuplinski and Gailey are working with him. Now, let me tell you something. You want me to get excited? You tell me that you're keeping Caldwell and Gailey, I'm good. I feel really, really good about the Miami Dolphins. I already feel good about the Dolphins as it is for 2020. You guys know that. I mean, I've been well on board with all this stuff, and it's proven that it's headed in the right direction. Nobody expected 5 wins. This is crazy stuff that they can win 5 with this lack of talent.
Ever since we got the second win, you've been going more and more toward the Flores and let's go, but you haven't totally jumped in. You're still apprehensive.
He needs one more year.
Yep.
He needs one more year. But, man, you have to give people the credit that they deserve when they do something.
Yes.
Okay? You know, if we're going to be quick to rip people and say, well, Manny Diaz is not doing the right thing, well, we have to be quick to say Brian Flores is doing a hell of a job. That's all. It's pretty simple. I had a Raiders fan call me yesterday on the national show. And he was I take offense with what you were saying about the Raiders. They had a pretty good year this year. And I go, dude, they won 7 games. He goes, yeah, but they lost a lot of close games. And actually, they did not. They got blown out by all the quality teams pretty much. I think there was one that was close. Okay? And all the teams that they beat pretty much on their schedule were terrible teams. So they were that team that can beat the bad teams and lose to the good teams. Remind you of anybody in the past? Oh, yeah, the Dolphins. You know the Dolphins beat more playoff teams than the Raiders did? So I think in fact, I think my boy Chris Syria on Twitter, I think he put out on the post, and you can check it out for me, I think the Dolphins beat more playoff teams than the Bills, who are headed to the playoffs. Think about that. Miami won 5 games. I believe the Bills won 10. And if you go through their schedule, I think Chris put up that the Dolphins have more play because they beat Philadelphia, playoffs, and the Patriots, playoffs. Right? Cincinnati, the Jets, and what was the other win? Wasn't a playoff team. What was the other win? Cincinnati, the Jets, New England, and Philadelphia, and what was the other one? Oh, well. Anyway. So, wait, didn't they beat the Bills? Yeah, they beat the Bills once. Yes, they beat the Bills. That's it. That was it. Tell me the Bills' schedule.
Okay. The one that you're missing is the Colts.
Oh, the Colts, not the Bills.
The Colts in Indianapolis.
Okay,
remember?
okay, I don't care about that, but give me the Bills' schedule. Is that right? Because he said the
Okay,
Bills.
hold on.
Bills that's a great stat. Okay, if that's true, which, I mean, Chris is usually on target. Maybe I got the team wrong that he put.
Okay, their first 3 wins. Yeah.
Give me all the wins. Give me all the wins.
Jets, Giants, Bengals.
Okay.
Titans, playoff.
Okay.
Us, Redskins, losers.
Right, keep going.
Then us again.
Right.
Broncos, negative. Cowboys, negative. And Steelers, he's right, 1.
Wow.
1. The Titans.
So
that's it.
The Dolphins beat more playoff teams than the Bills. How do you like them apples there? You can follow my boy Chris Syria, too, on Twitter. Big Dolphin fan, writer up in New York. Sciria. Chris Syria. Does a good job. Lakeisha was chiming in with the Colts. Thank you, Lakeisha. You're on top of it.
Yep. With the Patriots and the Philly, man, we get them 2-1.
Yeah. How about that? Let's see. Go Gators says, Orange Bowl champs. Enjoy your night, my brother. I will say this. Mullen is a likable guy. You know, sometimes maybe you've had some Gator coaches that might rub you the wrong way. I've interviewed him, and he looks like a cool dude overall. But not surprised that they won yesterday. They were the better team. I didn't expect Virginia to win that one.
Little props to Virginia, though. They kept it a game.
Yeah, they were gritty.
They kept it a game. The quarterback missed a couple wide open guys. Probably could have scored 14 more points, but Florida by far. Virginia just didn't have the speed. Every time Florida got outside and got in their secondary, you could just see the guys run away from them. They just didn't have that Florida speed.
Fitz is now given an ideal scenario for his last year. You get an offense, with a seasoned coach who knows who he is, and the team, fans, and media love you. Please come back, Fitz. I think he'll come back, actually, anyway. I think he's coming back. I don't think that's an issue whatsoever. I think he's coming back for sure. He's under contract, I believe, for this year anyways, coming up. So they could either release him or bring him back for one more season. I would bring him back one more year. I think it's just smart to have that guy around because he helped you assess. You're still in an assessment time. Okay? I mean, you're always assessing everything that you're doing. But my point is, you are still going to have some turnover next year. Not 477 transactions like this year, but next year you'll have 100 transactions instead of 400. I know it was like 80. But whatever, you're going to have, your share of transactions next year. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you definitely should do it. I definitely believe that Fitz will be back. Why not? 786-322-1105 is the accidentlawfirm.com text line. If you want to get in on the program, that's 786-322-1105. 1105 if you want to get in on the show. The other way to reach out to us is on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Follow us there as always, as we've got plenty of things going on in the world of sports. and we will answer your questions there, too, on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. And on Twitter, too, at Big O Show. Send them in. Manny Navarro is set to join us at 1 o'clock, okay? At 2, Ryan Aber is going to join us from the Oklahoman. We are going to talk a little Jalen Hurts with him. That will be our focus today. Our NFL draft focus will be Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma. Here's a guy that some Dolphin fans like also, because I pretty much get a group of Dolphin fans to like almost every quarterback. In fact, some of you out there are like, hey, that Nate Stanley guy looks like an interesting prospect in, day 3 or day 2 of the draft or something like that after they heard the interview yesterday. So, yes, it's normal for Dolphin fans to have love for any kind of quarterback because they're desperate for one. Yes.
Looking at it, it was a 2-year contract,
Yep.
$11 million, basically five and a half each year, so it'll be 5.5 next year. If we don't, it's dead cap space of 1.5. So costs us, what, $4 million basically, because we're already in for 1.5.
Yeah, they're going to bring him back, bro.
We better.
It's nothing.
It'd be a good idea. Plus, you said Shane Gailey coached him.
Yeah.
So there is already a connection.
Yes. Yes. And Jay Skursky covered Chan Gailey coaching Ryan Fitzpatrick. And guess what we're going to have on the show? Jay Skursky to talk about Chan Gailey and Ryan Fitzpatrick. How about that? So we'll have a little bit of that. I'm working on one more.
Sounds like you're tying this up in a bow, man.
I'm trying, bro. We're trying. That's what we do here on the show, to give the fans, the real sports fan, a perspective of their favorite team and the news and the moves that are made. They want to know what's going on and get somebody else's perspective on it, and somebody that was there. You know what I mean? And so Skursky was one of those guys that knows it. Let's see. The Big O Show, Ty from the Bronx. When is Jordan Love Day, big guy? Well, we'll find out if Jordan Love is coming to the Miami Dolphins in April. We'll find out. That's it. That's all we can do. But I wouldn't mind drafting Jordan Love. Now, you got to take him not early. I would not take him early because he has too many holes in his game. He's still raw. Hell of an athlete. He'll do stuff that will wow you, man. I've watched like 5 games of Utah State this year. Now, he will do some stuff that will leave you scratching your head. But then there are these wow moments that you're like, holy crap. All right, this guy's gifted. And I think it all depends on the way you view things. And do you think it's that he's forcing things? Or do you believe that he's trying to, or he's just playing bad? Because maybe he's forcing things because it's a bad team. Oh, so you got the rosters here for the East West Shrine?
Compliments of our lads. And I think it's from December 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Is the last update
the Missouri
got.
quarterback, Kelly Bryant's going to be there. The Princeton quarterback, Kevin Davidson. Mason Fine from North Texas. Tyler Hunley from Utah. Our boy here, James Morgan from FIU in the backyard, is going to be there. And Tommy Stevens from Mississippi State. I can't call this a strong – but then again, it's the East-West doesn't necessarily always have a strong quarter. I mean, they're the second-tier bowl game, so it's hard for them. They battle with the NFLPA for those second-tier quarterbacks. But I'm looking at some of the other – hey, Lawrence Cager is going to be there, former UMer, and obviously the Georgia kid, Josh Hightower, the Florida kid, is going to be there.
When you get down to the linebackers, both of our Canes.
Oh, yeah? Nice. Okay. All right, so we'll see. We usually see a cane or two there. And, sadly, we used to see a lot of them at the East-West Shrine. We're not seeing a lot of those anymore. Those are rare. Oh, yeah, I see it. Pickney and Quarterman are both at the East-West Shrine game. I like it. All right. Not bad. Okay. We'll have a lot of fun.
Are you surprised, because obviously they are seniors,
Yeah.
that they're not at the Senior Bowl?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not surprised because they're not at that level.
Yeah.
They're good, but they're not Michael Barrow good.
They're third-day guys.
Right, yeah.
Fourth round.
Yeah, that's what they are. They're not first-day guys or second-day guys like you're going to see a lot at the Senior Bowl. You might see there are third-day guys at the Senior Bowl, depending on the positions. But usually those linebackers are pretty studly, and they're probably ahead of our guys. And it also didn't help that we had a crappy year, too. That probably didn't help you. Oh, you are the man. Best show on the net. Edward in Bonaventure. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. But our show is better than anything that's on radio, too, here locally. If you want to get in, we appreciate it at 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, Mal from Virginia says, I understand that Chan Gailey's last stint in the NFL was being the offensive coordinator for the Jets from 15 to 16. Fitzpatrick was a quarterback for the Jets during that 2-year span. Chad O'Shea is an innovative play caller who did the best with the players that this team had. I don't understand the change. Please give us some clarity on this decision, Big O. Like I told you, I think they're afraid that Shuplinski is leaving somewhere else. And so the quarterback's coach is a guy that they cherish. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gailey and Shuplinski are kind of working hand in hand here, where they're elevating Shuplinski to being more than just a QB coach. Okay? So I think that there was some planning here, and that's what's going on. All right? And again, I'm going to trust Flores at this point because he's earned that, and he's behind the scenes. So maybe O'Shea wasn't as good as you think he is. Hey, what does this change in offensive coordinators mean for Josh Rosen's future with the Dolphins? Happy New Year, Dan in Fort Myers. Dan, that's a phenomenal question, my brother, and the only one that can answer that is Josh Rosen. He's the guy that's got to work his ass off. So when camp starts again next year, he's sharp as hell. When camp starts again next year, he is making the right decisions. When camp starts again next year, he can call all the protections. He can find the Mike linebacker. He can make all of the mental adjustments. So that way they can trust him. So it's really all up to Josh Rosen. That's it. Pretty simple. And they would have played him the entire season this year if he could actually play and allow them to do their job. The problem was they were not going to baby the quarterback position, and then the entire team suffers from it. They weren't going to do that. And I commend them for that. I think that was a very professional thing to do for the team. Best thing to do for the team overall. Was that a good move? I know our offense wasn't good, but I thought he did well with what he had. Firing O'Shea, we'll find out, my friend. I mean, time will answer all of this. Now, Chan Gailey has 1,000 times more experience than O'Shea. And he has experience with quarterbacks and with offense. Big O, what are your thoughts about Chad O'Shea being fired? And G from Pennsylvania, hopefully you're listening, G, and you've heard it. Big O, love your show. What do you think about Inter Miami's new coach, El Uruguayo? I don't know too much about him, man. I know he coached a couple of the Mexican teams, but again, I don't follow Mexican soccer, so I can't tell you how good or bad of a coach he is because I don't really follow the Mexican league. We're just going to have to give it to... Now, here's where I will go with this. Paul McDonough has built 2 successful expansion teams. This is his 3rd team. He's got to know what the hell he's doing. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I have no idea. I can't answer anything about the new coach. I'd be lying if I told you. And I'm going to BS and read what somebody else wrote and then repeat it. That's not my style either. You were thinking of Javon Curse, who came in as a safety and moved to DE. Yes, that's a good one. That the Freak also did that, but I was thinking of Tractor Trailer yesterday, if that's what you're talking about. Let's see. Okay, another guy. Well, this was for last night for, what's it called? Sirius. That's old. Yes?
Javon Curse, that big and run a 4-4, a low 4-4. There's absolutely no reason for something that big to be able to move that fast. That was ridiculous.
Yep, that dude was a total freak. Got to say that. That's for sure. Let's see. Good morning, Big O from Uncle Joe. Wishing you nothing but the best upcoming year and great show. Thank you very much, all of you out there, man. You're so awesome. You keep coming in and chiming in. We really appreciate it. Watching, spreading it.
Yesterday, man, the numbers.
Yeah, we're
that
crazy.
Like, wow,
crazy.
You guys, unbelievable.
And you're challenging it again today. You might break the record you set yesterday. You guys might break it again, which is, I mean, I don't think you will, because that number was extraordinary.
Are you challenging them?
We're headed for another. But we're headed for another extraordinary day, and so kudos to our listeners because they have given us the kind of support that I got to be honest, I did not see this coming. I thought it was going to be a slow build, and maybe we would get to where we're at. Where we're going now is territory I never really expected.
Here, and going into the holiday, we had talked about it.
Yeah, we thought
anticipated a lull because
a slow week.
Everybody being off their normal schedule, having to take care of family, travel, stuff that we wouldn't get. We're going to see a little dip in the number. On the contrary. Apparently,
you guys have plenty of time hanging out.
Accelerated numbers. Crazy.
Yeah, great stuff. Let's see. I have not listened to local sports radio since you weren't on at QAM for your show is the best, and the stream is the best for sports. Thank you, Myron. Appreciate that. University of Miami needs to fire Flake James and Manuela Diaz. Mace Taggart, let's see. Mace Taggart is asking Lakeisha Smith, how long have you been a fan, my dear? So we've got now listeners hitting on other listeners. Okay? I love it. Uncle Joe says, get rid of everyone, not just Eno's fault. It's good. It's good. You guys are even interacting and everything on the chat board, which is pretty amazing. Hey, we're out here at Caneswear, all right? 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Come on out. Got a couple clearance racks out here. Got all kinds of stuff going on.
Did you see the
end
jacket
of the year sale?
Did you see the jacket that just walked by, man? That old classic starter.
Yeah, the starter's jacket.
Man.
They've got them in black and white and green and orange. I mean, it's awesome. But anyway, come on out here and check it out. They've got all kinds of Dolphin stuff, too. Miami Heat. The Heat are red hot. I know they lost last night, but, hey, you're going to have a couple of those games where you lay a stinker, all right? As long as it's not habitual, we're good. That's all. Can't have a habitual type of situation. That's all. And that hasn't been the case this year. So let's give the Heat a little break here on this one. Hopefully they'll get back on target.
I think you were right about the intensity of the previous two games. 1 point wins, going into overtime, 3 and 4, and you could kind of see it, man. They had no legs. The guys had no legs.
That was a schedule loss, and again, it was kind of like a perfect storm. They shot the lights out, dude. I mean, their bench scored 80 points, man. You cannot lose a game when your bench scores 80 points?
As good as our bench is. Has our bench scored 80 points in a game?
No, not even that. Wow. And they've scored 40, 50, 60 points, I think.
But that's almost every game. Our bench is solid.
Yeah.
They tried, but 80 points. I don't think we've scored 80.
They had 27 last night, the Heat bench. It's not bad.
Yeah, but that's not us.
No, I
That's
mean,
not
but
us.
they could get in the 30s and the 40s, but 80? I mean, if your bench score is 80, get it, man. There's no way you lose that. And if you lose that game, you need to fire the coach. There's no way you should lose a game where your bench score is 80. So we'll see. What was this here? Lakeisha says, LOL, Big O. Mark Ardois says, that policy started under Shalala. Oh, can you discuss the University of Miami policy of allowing athletes to leave early and come back and finish their degrees tuition free? How many other schools do that? I don't know how many other schools do that, but that's been going on for a while. And what Mark was saying under Shalala, I got no problem with any of that. That's a great thing that they do. Why not, man? The athlete gave you their talent. You made a lot of money off that athlete. You sold tickets and suites and shirts, and they made no money off of it. If they leave early and then they want to come back to finish their schooling and you cover it, that's the least you can do since they did something for you in the process. So, yes.
My only question would be, does that help their graduation rate? Does that reflect, you know what I mean?
It should.
In your percentage.
It should. Should, because you did get them to graduate.
Yeah.
You're still inspiring them to go back.
You should get some credit for it. Yeah, that's
dude,
true.
Yeah, if you're getting somebody to go back. You couldn't get me to go back to school. I don't care what you paid me. All right? All right? I don't care what you paid me. I don't want to go back to school. All right?
Not even what your daughter's getting paid.
That's,
I mean, it's crazy. She's getting paid to go to school.
Yeah, but I'm not smart enough for that. That's the problem.
Well, we're not talking about taking the same courses. We already know that.
I'm not smart enough, and I don't even have her work ethic for schooling. I have her work ethic, and she has my work ethic.
It's applied in different areas.
But it's for different things. That's the whole thing. For my work, yes, I am a tireless worker. I've got great work ethic. But for school, oh man, if it wasn't PE or music class, I had no work ethic whatsoever for any of the other subjects in school. That's it. Although, I got to say, I really enjoyed
yearbook class.
And newspaper was kind of fun. And home ec. I remember taking home ec like in 9th grade because it was loaded with babes. So that was the ultimate motivation there to get a good grade and enjoy that class.
Considering you're going to go to college, but hadn't done it yet.
I remember back in the day when I took home ec, some of my friends were like, dude, you took home ec? I go, yeah, man. Me and like 2 other guys in a class full of girls. And that's when they're like, damn it, I should have taken home ec.
Typing and office automation.
Oh, definitely. Loaded with girls.
Exactly.
Had to have been.
And I learned to type and, a little office, do the calculator and stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So
more about the females, of course.
I gotta say, yeah, the home ec was very, very good to me. All right, that's the only thing I'll tell you. Let's see. Manny Diaz is a rich boy fraud. He doesn't know what culture is unless it involves having a silver spoon in your mouth. That's what Big Mike says there on the chat board. Wow. I don't know about that because he's paid his dues. He's bounced around. He's worked hard. So I won't say that. I'll just say he was terrible this year. He was terrible. He looked unorganized. And he better fix it with a quickness. Because one more year of what he did this year, and you got to fire him. Okay? I understand keeping him this year because anybody, and listen, when any of us start a new job, we're not at our best. We're learning how to drive to the best route to get to work so we can get on time. That's how it is for new jobs. And then when you get there, you got to learn the people and then learn the way they do things and everything. So you're never yourself, even when you start a new job. So you can kind of relate to anybody that starts a new coaching job. Okay, well, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. As ugly as it was this year, go ahead. But next year, none of this can happen for Manny. He can't have any of those struggles after every single, bye week. And hell, for the bowl game, it was a bye month. You're off for 4 weeks and you weren't even prepared? Are you kidding me? You lost to 2 teams in Conference USA? Come on, you lose to Georgia Tech? It's unacceptable. You lose to Duke? You can't do that. This was supposed to be a 10-win season. You win the 4 games you're supposed to win, you win 10. You win 10, we're happy with Manny. We're good. The games you lost, probably you were supposed to lose. Fine. You would have seen progress from 7-10, and Manny won the games he was supposed to win. You win 6, and you have a 6-7 season, and you lose 4 games you're supposed to win, and you look unprepared after every break. It is what it is. And so Manny deserves every bit of criticism that he gets. And those of you that want him fired, early on I would call it kind of crazy. Now I would tell you I understand how you're feeling, because it was frustrating to watch them be so inept.
Looking at it objectively.
But I'm good keeping him one more year and giving him the opportunity to come back, just like Willie Taggart got his opportunity, and he didn't prove it. And they got rid of him. Well, the University of Miami, if he doesn't prove it next year, sadly, you'll get rid of Manny, and you probably will get rid of Blake James, because the people above Blake James are going to say, that's your hire, and you hung on to him, and now look where we're at 2 years in. You got to start all over again. Well, we're going to start all over with our athletic director and with a new football coach. That's what will happen next year.
Totally right to give him the second year.
Yeah.
You got to, because like you said, man, he looked like a duck out of water and just had no clue. And, but the thing that is the scariest, and the fact is this.
And by the way, ducks are fine out of water. Try fish. Try fish.
Try fish. They work better in water.
Just say fish.
Situation.
Say fish out of water.
But you
Fish
see how
out of
they
water?
walk. They waddle. You see them in the water, man. They're gunning and running around. Okay, swimming, everything.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
But I see them walking around too, waddling around.
Waddling. Thank you.
Okay, they waddle around.
Out of place. The biggest thing is the fact that every time he had extra time to prepare.
A fish dies if it's out of water.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, I just want to check.
Well, we don't want many to die.
Make sure.
We want them to thrive.
Because there are people that have pet ducks, and they're not in water.
Pet ducks. Situation, the extra time.
Yes.
And him failing miserably each time.
Yes.
That's probably, to me, the biggest concern. Like, that this is not going to work. It doesn't,
Well, when the opposite is, holy crap, you're going to give Saban or Belichick 2 weeks or a month to prepare for you? Oh, you're screwed. Oh, Shula's got 2 weeks to prepare for you? That's how I used to be when I was young. Yeah, Shula's preparing for you? You're screwed. Not with Manny. I mean, the coaches that were facing Manny, they were on vacation during that time. Coach, you're going on vacation? Yeah, we're facing Manny Diaz in a couple of weeks. He won't be prepared. That's kind of the way it went on this year. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. That's the way it looked. I mean, this is why you have kids also defecting. This is why kids are leaving early also. And that's festered with Miami for 15 years. You're a player, okay? If you don't feel that you have a connection with that coach or coaching staff, if you don't feel you're going to play a lot next year and you're not going to improve your draft stock, then just get into the draft now and start on your first contract. Because they don't pay you in your first contract anyway. You got to make it to your second contract. So if you wait a year and you still came out in the 5th round, you made no progress. You gave the university a year for nothing. You could have given it to pro football. See? So Travis Homer is working on his second contract. And that's what you want to do. And make no mistake, some of these players that are leaving, they know they're not getting drafted early. They know they're going late. But they'd rather go late because they have no chance at becoming better here next year. That's scary. And that's something that has been going on here at the University of Miami for a long time now. And it was at the end of the Coker run. It continued with Shannon. It continued with Golden. And then, obviously, with Richt. You had that one magical year, but outside of that, it looked like it was an aberration. And it sucks.
Well, when you end the season with 3 consecutive losses,
You're right.
It totally undermined everything we had done the previous 10 games.
And that's the problem. So, Manny will get the break and come back, but he's got to come through. Because if he doesn't, and he doesn't make the proper changes, then you know that he's not the right guy for the job. And all of us that wanted him, I'm here. Okay? We just got to admit we were wrong, man. That's all. And, hey, it happens. We thought he did a great job with the defense. We thought, okay, he's ready for the elevation. Hell, Temple took him right away. Let's get him back. He knows our program. He knows the community, the culture. He believes in the culture, all of that stuff. Let's bring back that guy.
There is
and 99% of us were positive for this
I was
move.
just going to say, there isn't one Kane fan that when Rick quits, within hours we get Manny, that we weren't ecstatic.
I never ran into one person that said, oh, that was a terrible move. Oh, it was a mistake. Now you get all these people that come out of the woodwork. Oh, I knew that was. You're full of crap.
You know something else? Could I just say?
You're all full of. Any of you that are saying that, you're full of crap. Everybody loved the hire. Okay? Don't be a phony. Now, we don't get paid to do this. Blake James does. And the poor man will get fired if Manny fails next year. What are you going to do? That's the sad part.
You have 77 consecutive minutes in running. We're up on the hour.
Oh,
Can we take a break?
Oh, we haven't even taken a break. Wow. Go see on radio if you'll get 77 straight minutes of talk. I didn't realize that I talked for 77 straight minutes.
Yes, sir.
All right, can I rest my voice here? Give me a couple minutes here. Let me tell you about Toyota of Hollywood before we do that, because they've got 1,500 different Toyotas in stock. In fact, my beautiful Camry XSE is here in the lot right there, my 2020 that I just got at Toyota of Hollywood. And listen, you think I'm going to tell you to buy or lease a vehicle where I wouldn't do it myself? Come on, man, I would never do that. So get on down there, see Steve Ostrov, see Herbie Lopez, see all the great people out there at Toyota of Hollywood. It's really simple, 1841 North State Road 7. They're open till midnight. They've got over 1,500 Toyotas in stock, and they're ready to make you a deal. Tell the people out there that Big O sent you, folks, and they'll take care of you at Toyota of Hollywood.